So, I remember we talked to Mr. Quinn on the very last time we did our meetup. So I want to start with him because he was bringing some real good nuggets the last meetup. And so you can unmute, sir, and tell us how you've been and what have you
There you
been
go.
working on that you think would be valuable to this meeting today.
Oh man, I've been all over the place. I'm heading to California next week. I've just got back from Taiwan last week. I was at the Semicon Taiwan event, and man, I'll tell you what, the world is going semiconductor. There was 100,000 people at the Semicon Taiwan event. It was
Wow.
wall to wall people. The semiconductor is the foundation of all the technology that's moving at us in this world right now. So a little bit about me. I'm Robert Quinn. I'm a semiconductor industry ambassador and talk about semiconductor industry on LinkedIn. I have about 12 million views a year on LinkedIn and about 65,000 followers. Just kind of reading what I write every day. I post and write about the LinkedIn industry. I'm also the director of a company called PartStat on the other side of the business where we are actually creating solutions for dealing with supply chain issues. We're working with high-end companies such as GM and Caterpillar and other big companies that are out there that are looking to store their what we do is we come in with our capital, we buy we purchase the chips, so we'll come in and buy $300 million of chips from the foundry that's producing the chips. We will store them in our free trade zone and using our capital and storing them there at our facility. And then companies like GM can come and get those chips over the next 5 years, 15 years, however long they want to store them in our facility. And we're able to create a a unique opportunity to not deal with tariffs and escaping the tariff issues and also being able to store and securely store and have on-demand chips, kind of a solution so we don't have to go through what we went through during COVID. So but that's my business end, and then also my LinkedIn side of what I'm doing there.
Okay. Wow. So you're really well known with the work that you do. So everyone in this meetup should definitely be connecting with you on LinkedIn for sure.
Definitely.
Let me ask you just a question about Texas, as a U.S. hub for semiconductors manufacturing. Like, like what should people know about Texas's role within the semiconductor industry?
We are exploding at the seams as semiconductor right now.
Mhm.
There's right now, of course, we have Tesla that just moved in. I call Tesla a semiconductor company because they're creating the advent of the technology, and where all the technology is going to be going into. I was just in Semicon Taiwan, and they're talking about robotics and how everybody's going to be owning a robot in their home pretty soon. And everybody was saying, "Oh, 10 years." He was like,
Mhm.
three,
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah,
Three
I feel
years.
I do feel that because I think that with AI, particularly with AI, you just see a massive explosion taking place where people now are using tools that we never thought of. And I've seen some of the news broadcasts in terms of some of the robots that they've been assembling in other parts of the world. Maybe it hasn't been on as fire in America, but they're coming.
Yeah, Tesla's already started the manufacturing line, uh,
Wow.
and for manufacturing robots, and so they're already start planning this manufacturing line here in Texas. Of course, we've got Samsung that's building a $40 billion facility, and Tesla organizing with them as well to produce their chips. Gosh, there's all types of. We've got NVIDIA, NXP. Samsung, we've got Oracle, we've got a lot of big companies here in Texas that are just a part of this technology evolution, that are at the forefront of this technology evolution. Without the chips, we have none of this technology, and the chips are the
Mhm.
foundation of all of it. And so we really have to make sure that we're keeping that supply chain here at home. Although I call us the I was writing about it the other day. I called it the three-headed dragon. We really are. We're Asia, the Americas, and then Europe. And we all share a heart. So we absolutely depend on each other for this supply chain, this global supply chain. None of us can do it without each other. We have to depend on each other. But at the same time, we have to create ways of dealing with these things such as sanctions, these sanctions that we're experiencing right now, and the dealing with the tariffs, and how do you circumvent some of that stuff and get around it, and still stay in business. It's an issue for a lot of companies. It's a main issue right now for a lot of companies, big companies that are dealing with importing. What you don't know is that 100% of these chips that are made in America, they
Hmm.
they immediately leave the country. So
Oh, okay. So that's a great export.
they're immediately leaving the country, and they're going to Asia for packaging and testing and cutting and dyeing and putting into these, putting onto the board and doing all that work over there. So none of it's one-stop shop. You can't do it all here in the US. We have gases from, Russia. We have that we depend on. We have chemicals from China that we depend on, and uh, minerals and whatnot that are used in this industry. So it's a very, very complicated industry, and it's a huge ecosystem, and it's a very fine balance of making sure that we're really creating an ecosystem that's dependable, that we can, supply chain that we can depend on, because right now it's hanging on the thread. It really is.
Hmm.
And we have to figure out ways to make sure that we're able to circumvent that, and convincing government so we're to work together, making sure that we're working together, because it's through collaboration that the next innovation is going to come together. We're going to see the next innovations come together through collaboration. Intel spent $16 billion in research and development last year. Look where it got them. It didn't get them very
Yeah.
far, and they're a very big company. And so one company can't do it on its own, and it's not going to be one big company that does it. It's going to be the big companies working with the small companies, working with the government, and all tied in together. And I'm fixing to go to NIST in DC next month, and go visit with them. But it's going to be interesting to see how inter the integration of government and government funds is going to be, pushing this technology forward as well. So,
Hey, so just curious about education. Are there any leading universities in Texas that are doing a little bit more than others? And then I guess the last question before I move on to the next person is are you familiar with the Texas Semiconductor Innovation Consortium? And then, how has that been working?
TIE is a big consortium. It's doing very well. They've got a lot of funds that they're putting into that at the University of Texas. I actually have a nonprofit organization called SIMU, Semiconductor Industry Mobile Education Unit. Our goal is to build a 52-foot semi, an 18-wheeler that expands to 1,000 square feet, like an RV
Okay.
pops out of the walls.
Right.
And then you can take this unit to underprivileged schools around the nation, and you can actually tour the kids through this unit to give the kids this aha moment of, I learned what semiconductors are,
Mhm.
right? And that's really what we have to do, is we have to get these kids excited about this technology. And that's the my main focus in this thing. But we've got a lot of money going out with Ty, and Governor Abbott is absolutely pushing a ton of money into semiconductor. He understands this, that this is the foundation of it all, and he's really wanting to make Texas a home for this. We're really pushing to incentivize companies to come to Texas, and
Mhm.
Greg Abbott's doing a great job of that. And I liked seeing that with Texas, and seeing us pushed for that bringing all the semiconductor here and the technology here.
I,
Is
I, I was going to ask you, along with that, what should businesses be doing to ride the wave of the semiconductor revolution in Texas? And I do believe that once we get the businesses to come here, right? Because you mentioned that Texas is doing a great job of recruiting new business. I think it's the fastest exploding state in the United States in terms of new businesses, but it's always the alignment. And even Rachel may be able to chime in. It's the alignment that. So, what would you say to businesses to encourage them to figure out how to fit into this semiconductor revolution, as I call it?
One of the biggest problems we're experiencing in the semiconductor revolution is education. Actually, it's one of the biggest bottlenecks right now. I was just actually worked with. I just opened up the Temple College. They opened a new semiconductor training thing there, so I was helping them for a month or so, and trying to. We're doubling the size of the industry. The average senior engineering age right now is 50 years old or higher. So this is a big issue when we're doubling the size of the industry and majority of the people are fixing to retire. This we have a huge shortage. We have over 100,000 shortage here in the U.S. We need to fill within the whole United States. And so educating these people, getting them excited about this industry, and but it's not just semiconductor. We have to re-educate people on. The whole world is going to have to be re-educated with artificial intelligence.
Okay.
And so artificial intelligence, robotics, manufacturing is going to be, it's a whole new education that we have to incentivize people to learn, and it's going to be a big part of the future of here of Texas here. I'm actually taking kids into the J.J. Pickle University of Texas lab, and we're touring the kids while I'm trying to build this unit to this $1.2 million unit that we can drive around in Texas. We're taking the kids into the lab. We're striking plasma on the tools. We're talking about the technology and where things are going,
Wow.
and how the technology works. And I have a little thing. If give me, if it's okay, I tell these kids. I say, listen, like I'm a atomic layer deposition engineer. So
Yeah.
I've learned how to break this down, and I've tell the kids to say, listen, this equipment, these machines that we work on, they pump down to a vacuum of 10 to the negative 9 torr. It's deep space vacuum. We're injecting a plasma that's as hot as the surface of the sun. We're exciting the molecules inside of these chambers. And we're doing processes like atomic layer deposition. We're putting a single layer of atoms on these glass these silicon substrates. We've now gone from a single transistor that was this big to a
Hmm.
chip that has 2.6 trillion transistors and 850,000 cores.
Wow. Jeez.
And to put that into perspective, it'll take you 31,000 years to count to 1 trillion. That's how big that number is. And so to understand, you understand what the sun is, you understand what an atom is, you understand what deep space vacuum is, and so I was actually asked to go speak about this at the in Oman, the royal family in Oman asked me to fly out to come speak, and one of the royal family members, he said, "I feel like a physicist. This is great." And I was like, "But it's really not rocket science. It really is simple logic. It's simple technology." And but understanding that we are working with atoms today, and we're stacking atoms to make transistors, and where this technology has gone over 74 years with Moore's law, and where it's going in the next 30 is going to be absolutely parabolic. It's had this trajectory like this over 74 years, and
Yeah.
the chart goes like this over the next over, Moore's law kind of dies, and we now go into computational power versus talking about doubling transistor density. We're no longer going to do that. Now we're going to be moving into 2D stacking and 3D stacking of chips, and making the chips having more computational power for those chips. And so as we move into the artificial intelligence world, but definitely, I think that the world is going to be a different place as we know it in 30 years. It's going to be an absolute. I have a 9-year old. I can't even imagine the world he's going to live in, and when he's my age. So
Well, thank you so much for your expertise. Thank you for just exploring some of those questions because, these are all areas in which we should be knowing about. And the great thing about Global Chamber and with you being a part of our global tribe is that we have a resident expert, right? You can Robert is available. He shows up at meetups and he's able to take on some of the tougher questions. So thank you so much. And